Every year, thousands of passengers travel with service animals, including emotional support and psychiatric service animals, via air travel. Airlines are required to permit service animals on board aircraft to accompany passengers with disabilities on covered flights. Sometimes a passenger with a disability traveling with a service animal may not be aware of the type of information the airline may require the passenger to provide. As such, airline personnel and passengers traveling with a service animal should be aware of the following: the acceptance criteria for a service animal to travel on board the aircraft, including what documentation can be required as proof that an animal is an emotional support or psychiatric service animal, and the resources available to help mitigate any issues that may arise. Under the Department of Transportation's rules implementing the Air Carrier Access Act, or ACAA, a service animal is any animal that is individually trained or able to provide assistance to a qualified person with a disability, or shown by documentation to be necessary for the emotional well-being of a passenger. Some service animals, such as dog guides for the blind and mobility dogs for those with limited mobility, tend to be more commonly recognized. Psychiatric service animals are trained to help with mental health disabilities, such as post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, major depression, and panic or anxiety. Emotional support animals provide emotional comfort to their handler through their physical presence. Sometimes service animals have visual indicators, such as a special harness and/or service dog vest, but some may not. Did you know this dog can sense when her owner's blood sugar level is getting low? And this little guy helps his owner with anxiety while on the plane? In general, airlines can consider any of the following as evidence that an animal is a service animal: credible verbal assurances of a qualified individual with a disability using the animal, the presence of harness or tags, identification cards or other written documentation. Keep in mind that a legitimate service animal may not have an ID card, equipment, or special markings. The service animal rules allow airlines to request specific documentation and 48 hours advance notice for emotional support and psychiatric service animals. When determining whether to allow a service animal to board the aircraft, airlines may exclude an animal that is too large or heavy to be accommodated safely in the cabin, would pose a direct threat to the health or safety of others, would cause a significant disruption of cabin service, would be prohibited from entering a foreign country of the flight's destination, and/or exhibits unacceptable behavior such as relieving themselves in non-designated pet relief areas, running around and/or jumping onto other passengers, and/or barking or snarling at other passengers without being provoked. But be aware, when a trained service animal barks, it may also be an indication the customer with a disability is in distress. As such, do not immediately assume that the animal is being disruptive because of a bark. Airlines are never required to accept certain unusual animals in the aircraft cabin, including snakes, other reptiles, ferrets, rodents, and spiders. If you still have concerns about the animal traveling as a service animal, you may ask the following questions. Is this your pet? What tasks or functions does the animal provide for you? What has the animal been trained to do? Would you describe how the animal performs this task or function for you? Once on board the aircraft, a service animal may be placed at the feet of a person with a disability at any seat, as long as the animal does not block a space that must remain unobstructed for safety reasons, such as an aisle or access to an emergency exit, or extend into the foot space of another passenger who does not want to share the foot space. A service animal may sit in a passenger's lap for all phases of flight if that animal needs to be in the passenger's lap to perform the service during the flight and is no larger than a 2-year-old lap-held child. An airline is not required to upgrade a passenger to a different class of service to accommodate a service animal. Whenever you decide not to accept an animal as a service animal, you must explain the reason for your decision to the passenger and document it in writing. A copy of the explanation must be provided to the passenger either at the airport or within 10 calendar days of the incident. If you encounter an issue that you cannot resolve, you should contact a Complaint Resolution Official, or CRO. These individuals are specifically trained to assist in resolving disability-related issues related to the ACAA. Every year, thousands of passengers travel with their service animals via air travel. Your understanding of the department's rules for service animal travel will help ensure that all passengers and their service animals are able to travel safely without experiencing unnecessary delays or hardships.